What's up, YouTube? We're here up on the mountain today. We're looking for wild cinnamon and Mamaki tea. So the mission today is basically go in the forest. I mean, there's so much cinnamon that grows up here. It's a wild invasive type called false cinnamon, but it still has the same flavor and does the same job as regular cinnamon. So I'm gonna show you how we extract the bark from the tree and how I process it and how you can use it in your day-to-day cooking. And it's a really amazing ingredient. I use it in a lot of different food that I cook. We're gonna gather up this stuff, get right into it, and I'm gonna show you how to make a chai tea latte with all these wild ingredients. So stay tuned. Oh, nice. So we got a little strawberry guava. This stuff grows everywhere here. It's like a different form of guava, but it's super invasive, and I mean, it makes a good little snack. But you just be careful where you throw the ends of these when you're done. So when I do it, I try to make sure to not throw the seeds around and spread them even more. So yeah, when you gather strawberry guava and you eat it, you don't want to just like throw it around like, oh, like that. You keep it like, eat all the seeds, and if you do throw anything, just make sure there's no seeds in it, because the more you throw these around, the more they're gonna grow, and the forest is already having such a problem with these. The pigs get into them, they take them around, they shit them out, and then it just proliferates, takes up all of the space that other plants need to use to grow. So like, native plants can't compete with this, but for me, like, let's see, it's like a nice little vitamin C boost while you're hiking. And people do all kinds of cool stuff with it. Some people go crazy for these. Not really personally my favorite fruit, but if you leave that, that's fine to just throw away. But if there's seeds in it, you're just gonna be spreading it. So just make sure you properly dispose. Like if I throw that away, there's seeds in it. So that's gonna be probably another tree, because this thing, as soon as it hits the ground, it starts growing. So right here we got some white ginger, and I'm gonna pull that out. Well, there's actually two different types. This is yellow ginger and white ginger. This one's the yellow version, and super edible, delicious ginger flavor. I just pickled a whole jar of these, so I'm interested to see how it comes out. And you know, foraging, it's like such an interesting thing, rain or shine. Honestly, in the rain, I feel like I get a lot luckier sometimes, just because like even with all these distractions and the noise and everything, it's super peaceful. I know I'm eventually gonna be dry in a minute, so I'm not too worried about the weather up here, but we're gonna go ahead and eat these. Just floral light. I put them in salads. I use the flour to ferment things, because they naturally have a yeast inside. So like, you can ferment, holy fuck, that's so much coffee right there. So right here we got some coffee. You can always tell coffee because the leaves are crinkly and stuff. And this stuff grows crazy on mountain tops and higher elevation. Needs a lot of water to get wet. I mean, a lot of water to grow. So these are about 3 weeks out. I'd say 3 to 2 weeks out before I'm gonna come back and harvest them. We're gonna do a coffee video and show you guys how to start to finish, roast them, pick them, cure them, and make some coffee. So right here we got a little bit of Indian Pennywort, also known as gotu kola. And this is really popular in Asian cuisine, and also Native American people used to eat it too, but it was a different type that's in the mainland and North American one. This one grows really good out here in Hawaii. It grows up at like higher elevations, needs a lot of water and stuff, and it's absolutely delicious. It tastes like carrots. So I put this in salads. I've made a salve out of it for cuts and stuff. You can make medicinal herbs with it. I've been experimenting with like making medicinal herbs recently, and this one is perfect for like cuts, antiseptic kind of stuff, and also eating. Apparently it's like super healthy for you, for like when you eat it and stuff. So whenever I see it, I like to munch on it. It tastes exactly like a carrot. It goes good in salads. I spy with my eye over here a humongous Lilikoi. Look at the size of this thing. That's a nice one. So what that tells me is up here, oh, and I can see it right there, is a humongous Lilikoi vine. I see some flowers. There probably is more inside. I might go take a look in there and see if I can come out with any more. But this is a passion. This is a Lilikoi, otherwise known as passion fruit. This is a healthy one. So this must have come down during the rain and the wind. It's this huge bush up here. I'm gonna go inside this little forest area and I'm gonna check out, see if I can find some more. Usually if one fell, that means there probably is others. Same time, this one's a little unripe, so it could be just a lucky one that fell. We might have to come back at a later date and inspect again. But that's an awesome little find right there. That's a nice big size one. So this is Mamaki tea. I've noticed there's two types of Mamaki tea. I'm not 100% sure what the differences are, except I know the colors on them are like the bigger, fatter, lower land Mamaki teas have like red stripes in it. And then this is like a highland version. If you want to see something cool, they have these little berries. This is the Mamaki berry, which is like the seedling. So I don't really take too many of these to eat because I want this thing to reproduce and make more of itself. But if you just take a sip every once in a while, that's good. It has it's almost like a white strawberry or something. But like I said, I don't eat that because this thing is a local indigenous plant. So when you're dealing with local indigenous plants, you have to look around. You have to kind of gauge how many are around. Is it okay to take from it? Is this an exclusion zone? There's all kinds of different things that you need to take into consideration before you just start plucking out Mamaki tea or any local indigenous plant, because these things are way more sensitive than other, like invasive stuff, go for it, like go crazy, take as much ginger as you want, cinnamon, all those things are bad for the forest, but this is something you want to protect, you want to be really mindful with, you want to basically ask permission from it. Like for me, what I would do is I would take these leaves, these are already damaged, and I'll dry them out and I'll still get the amount of tea that I want from it, and I'm helping the tree by taking off parts that are never going to be good again. So I'll take all these bitten leaves that are too big, the full-grown leaves. And if you can see this tree is loaded up with Mamaki, so this one is fine to take from. It just, like I said, I'm only going to take enough for one chai tea latte today, and we'll let this guy, I haven't hit this tree in around 6 months, since March. So I've given it 6 months to recover since the last time I touched it. But even the last time I touched it, I took maybe 2 ounces from this entire tree. So cinnamon, false cinnamon. You can tell by these leaves it has. It's got these like lines within the leaf. It almost looks like a bay leaf, and it has a similar smell to bay leaf. I use it to cook with. I dry these out. I throw it in rice. I throw it in stews. I basically treat it the same as a bay leaf, but it imparts like a nice, like herbal smell into food. Aromatic, super aromatic. Spice, it has this flavor of spice. But I won't take cinnamon. Like if you can just see, like of all of these trees right here, this is all false cinnamon, which shows at the invasiveness of it. So even all those bigger trees down there with the white spots, that's when you know it's basically ready for harvest, like if you're gonna take bark from it. That means it's had time to mature and berry. And once it berries, then that's when it's at its most fragrant inside of the bark. What we got here is my favorite cinnamon tree in the forest. I like to grab bark from these mature ones that are fully grown out. And the reason being is I feel like they have the most flavor within their bark. Like these smaller ones, I've noticed they just don't have the right oil content or whatever it is, like spice. So we're gonna go, and I'm gonna show you how I learned how to do cinnamon. And it's the safe way. If you're using a knife, like I'm just using my buck knife right here. And if you want to check the description below, we got buckknife.com right there if you want to pick one of these up. There we go. And then just from right here, I want to take off this kind of like moss and stuff. And you see those red lines? That's what you want to see right there. I kind of just stumbled on this. I didn't know it was cinnamon for the longest time. I thought this was a bay leaf tree for a year. I thought I was grabbing these and calling it bay leaf, misidentifying it, but so like gunk. This is pretty gnarly if you're not good with a knife or used to it. There we go. And then just let it fall down. And then you can pick it up after if you're gonna do this. That's how I do it. So you see this red layer, this is where all the flavor of that cinnamon is, right here. And oh, that's a strong one. It's got a really fruity flavor before it's dried. So as you dry it, the flavor like concentrates and it becomes more cinnamony. Right now it's still a little fruity. What we're gonna collect our cinnamon. We're gonna go ahead, pick up our cinnamon. And so this is a little different than true cinnamon, which is like Ceylon or Indian. But as this dries, it's gonna curl up into that little shape that you're familiar with, the cone shape. And it's just gonna become 50 times more strong smelling after you dry it out and get all that moisture out of it. Okay, so we came out here, we got what we needed. We got our mamaki, got our cinnamon, and we're gonna go back to the house, which is literally down the street from here. And we're gonna cook up a chai tea latte. I'm gonna show you guys how we make that. So we're back at the house now. We got our ingredients. We got the cinnamon, mamaki tea, a little bit of ginger from the yard. So chai tea, masala chai, it's from India. It's over like 6,000 years old. There's so many different blends and varieties of spice mixes that go in it. Today we're gonna play around with a couple different ones. I've got a little bit of peppercorn, my wild forage peppercorn. I got some other cinnamon that I've been holding on to. It's already dried. We're gonna do a mixture of fresh and dried cinnamon just to see how the flavor turns out. Then I have fresh coconut milk I made from 2 coconuts that were in my truck for a little bit. And we're gonna use this as the milk for today. And then to sweeten it, we have the Kokei elderflower sugar. So I went to Kokei in Kauai, West Kauai, and this is a mountain near my Waimea Valley. And I got a bunch of elderflower and I preserved it in the sugar. So we're gonna make like a syrup out of this. It'll be like our simple syrup. So first step in all of this is we're gonna get our Mamaki tea. And Mamaki tea is cool because you can just use it raw. You don't have to actually dry it to get it to be a tea. So we're gonna go ahead and throw this raw Mamaki. And so we're gonna throw the tea in here. And then that's the one from the hike. I have a little bit more. So I have some that I dried out from a different hike. This is actually a different variety of Mamaki. This is the red vein Mamaki. And we're gonna throw that in there. So we're gonna do like a little mix of the 2 different types of Mamaki I find on trails. Cool. So let that steep out for a little bit. I like my Mamaki tea really dark and flavorful. So I use a lot of Mamaki and I just boil it and steep it for an extended amount of time. I want it to be nice and dark. Okay, so we toasted our spices. We got fenugreek, we got coriander, we got our cinnamon in there and a little bit of peppercorn. So we'll leave the recipe down in the description below. The spices that you use, it's honestly up to you. Every part of India uses different spices to do their masalas. So I'll leave that up to you guys on what you have around and stuff. But I got a nutmeg right here. So these do grow wild in the forest, but this one is from the store. It's I think it's from India or something. I am gonna do a video later on and we'll let you guys know when we go to get nutmeg because that'll be fun. So throw the nutmeg in here. This is fresh nutmeg, so it's really strong. You don't want to do too much, but look at that. Look at that, amazing. And the flavor on that is just taking over everything right now. Then we have some wild ginger. I mean, this is ginger from the front yard. This is homegrown ginger though. It's really strong and smells amazing. Yeah, this is like really strong concentrated ginger. So we're gonna throw this inside too. And we're gonna just muddle all this up. I wanna get all these flavors incorporated. So I'm just gonna kind of like pound this out. We're just releasing all the flavors from the spices that we just ground down. So smash the ginger up. The smell is crazy. We got ginger, we got spices, we got... This isn't your Starbucks chai tea latte. So this is attention to detail, this is sourcing, this is knowing where your food comes from. Eventually, every spice that I put in this mortar and pestle, I want it to be from my hands. Either I foraged it or I grew it. Because in Hawaii, we have the ability to grow all these cool stuff. Like getting a cardamom tree would be awesome. Growing fenugreek, wild fennel seed. We'll be going back to Big Island to do that. Yeah, so if you could get your noses in here, which YouTube doesn't have that option yet, but hopefully in the next 5 years they do. The smell is insane. You got all the different spices, the cinnamon, the Mamaki tea, and the cinnamon inside there steaming away. And then now we're gonna add a little bit of this elderflower sugar to our pan. What I'm gonna try to do is just, so you see it's like hitting the pan, it's like really hot already, so it's like kind of crystallizing. I'm gonna add a little bit of water. Yeah, maybe a little more water. We're just gonna make a basic, simple syrup. But what makes this really good is the elderflower that's inside of it. Okay. And our Mamaki tea looking real good. I'll take this off the heat and just let that steep more. We got our cinnamon in here. Check that out. Cinnamon bark and Mamaki tea leaves. All that we found wild in the forest. And this is our elderflower syrup. You can see the flower petals that were in there. Elderflower is really good for you too. There's a bunch of different uses that people use for it. Native Americans used it in all kinds of cool stuff. So check out how dark our Mamaki tea is. That is the color you want to see there. That's like all-time Mamaki right there. Just pure health. So as we go down our little ceremony we're gonna do, we have our spice mixture, which is cinnamon, ginger, fenugreek, coriander, nutmeg, everything fresh. We toasted it. The peppercorn, everything is just like insane. My nose is like overwhelmed right now with flavors. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab these white ginger, yellow ginger flower. So you see these ginger flowers? This is gonna give it a floral flavor. So what I'm gonna do is with a teacup, I'm just gonna pop these guys in. And then we're gonna put our mixture that we made. It's right here. So we got our teapot here, awesome little teapot. Our flowers are in the bottom, our chai mixture is on the top. What we're gonna do is we're gonna pour our Mamaki tea. This is really hot, so gotta be careful. So we got our coconut milk here. I made this like 2 days ago and I kind of used just the creamy stuff. So this is a nice thick milk, not too much coconut. I didn't add any coconut water or water it down at all. So this is gonna be our milk source. Let's add a little more. So good, sweet and delicious. So this is our chai tea Mamaki latte that we made. This is everything we found is in the forest. The coconuts I got from a friend. This is just amazing right here. So look at the different colors. We got the red, and I'm not even sure why it's red right now, because usually Mamaki tea is brown, but I think it was the cinnamon bark that we put in. And then that like coconut cap on the top. And this is just like a purely forest chai tea latte. So I'm so excited to try it. I'm gonna go ahead and try it, and I want to thank you guys for watching us and staying along for the journey. It was raining, it was crazy weather. We pushed through, and now we have this like really cool drink that we're gonna try. So I'm gonna try it. That's gonna be my honest reaction right here. Oh my god, that's crazy. This flavor of the cinnamon and like the lightness of the Mamaki works so good. That coconut milk is just so creamy and delicious. I'm gonna mix it up a little bit so you guys can see what it would look like more. So check it out. So that's what we want. It's almost like pink. I've never seen chai tea like that. And then I can taste the ginger flowers in it. The ginger flowers are giving it like a kind of a floral taste. With like a sweet back tone with the elderflower sugar. And that's a journey and a half right there for one drink, but it was worth it. I'll go ahead and leave the recipe in the description, and you guys can try to make this at home with things around your house. You can use black tea. You don't have to go and get everything from the forest either. So I'll leave that recipe in the description. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you can subscribe. Stay tuned, and we got more stuff coming down the pipeline.